Welcome back. It's me, Lou. I'm here for a special toy haul video. Alright, so today is May 13th, 2023, and last weekend I had the opportunity to attend the Wolff Flea Market. Wolff Flea Market is a flea market held every Sunday from April to October in Rosemont, Illinois. It's held at the parking lot of the Allstate Arena. If you're a fan of the WWE, you'll recognize the Allstate Arena as a historical WWE venue. Formerly known as the Rosemont Horizon, it's hosted a couple of WrestleManias and countless memorable WWF and WWE moments. So every Sunday during the spring and summertime, they open up the parking lot for this giant flea market. And I went last Sunday, and this is a collection of some of the action figures I picked up. There aren't too many toy dealers at the flea market. You know, most of the people are selling bicycles, socks, all sorts of weird produce. But every now and then you'll find a couple of hardcore toy dealers. I was very fortunate to find one that cut me a deal on all these action figures. So for me, it was a great opportunity to pick up some older toys that I might have passed up on, over the last few years. So let's take a look at what I grabbed. All right, first we'll start with this. This is the Borderlands 3 Tiny Tina figure from McFarlane Toys. The box is kind of beat up. I got this. It was marked for $15, but the guy cut me a deal, and I think dropped it down to maybe 11 or 12 bucks. This was something I kept on seeing at my local Target, but I just, time and time again, I told myself I'd buy it, then just passed on it up until the point when it was no longer on the shelves. I'm actually a fan of the Borderlands video game, and I recently purchased Tiny Tina Wonderland on the PlayStation 5. So as seeing as I'm kind of a big fan of the game, I'm like, you know what, I really need the action figure, so I went ahead and just pulled the trigger on this. I'll probably review this in the near future, but for now, we'll just do a real quick mint in box look at it. So we have Tiny Tina looking pretty cool. The detailing is really nice on the McFarlane stuff. And here are all the different accessories. It's really awesome. My one complaint with McFarlane's Borderland figures is that I kind of wish they'd include more accessories and more weapons. Just because, Borderlands, if you've played the game, there's such a strong emphasis on, looting and upgrading your weaponry. So for me, it'd make more sense if they included more weapons with each figure. But nonetheless, they're very solid sculpts, very detailed, and the presentation's nice. This is probably something I'm going to take out of the box and trash the box. It's really beat to hell, but it's a beautiful figure. And there's Tiny Tina, nice illustration. It's kind of unfortunate that line was kind of short-lived. I kind of felt like they could have really explored the universe a little bit better. Alright, so up next we have the Death Watch Mandalorian. He had it marked for $25, which isn't bad considering that's, about the same price at retail. Again, the box is kind of dinged up, and he cut me a deal on this also. I think I might have paid, 20 bucks for this. This is a great troop builder. I kind of want to amass at least a handful of Death Watch Mandalorians. Especially since I'm really a big fan of Bo-Katan. She was a former lieutenant in the Death Watch, and with those characters like that figure with the X-Wolves and the Casca Reeves, on your display you can really build up a nice small little militia of Mandalorians. And the Death Watch Trooper or the Death Watch Mandalorian, I think, is just a really clean, beautiful looking action figure. It's really well done, really nice. And again, this is something I'll probably review in the near future, so keep an eye out for that review. Next, we have an action figure that I've been wanting forever. This is the DC Signature Collection from Mattel. So if you're a fan of Mattel's DC Classics, DC Universe line of action figures, you'll remember the Signature Collection. So this figure is over 10 years old. I think it came out in 2012 or 2013. And during this time period, I think Mattel took some time off. It's kind of like a brief hiatus from doing the classics style of action figure. And then it kind of went to just an online only model where you had to get these figures through Matty Collector. And they were called the Signature Series. And it was nice because they were like unique sculpts. They were definitely leveled up from the previous classics figures, and they were just really awesome. I've said this before in some of my other videos in regards to my reviews on the Aquaman action figures. 90s Aquaman is probably my favorite design of the character. If you're a big fan of like the Peter David era of Aquaman, you know, this figure is right up your alley. It looks great. You know, Arthur has the long hair, the full beard. He has the very 90s inspired like Cable Gladiator like metal arm, you know, for the armor plating on his right shoulder. And it even has the hook hand, which is, I think, awesome. So this really captures my favorite version of Aquaman. Even though that I was introduced to the character in the early 80s, you know, the much evergreen orange and green scale mail Aquaman is kind of like the one that kind of like lives in my head. This is the one that I think is my favorite design. You know, it's such a cool looking character. And again, you know, be on the lookout for a review on this guy in the near future. Another figure that's been on my radar since it came out, but I just constantly passed up on it time and time again, was this Harley Quinn. This Harley Quinn figure is pretty interesting in its design because it kind of captures her during the transition period between the New 52 and the Rebirth era. I think this figure came out in either 2015 or 2016. It's based off of the designs of artist Amanda Conner, who's been long associated with Harley Quinn. During this time period, the Suicide Squad, the first movie, was coming out, and Margot Robbie played Harley Quinn, and I think they kind of wanted to give the film version of that character some influence on the comic book one. So they went ahead and gave Harley the blonde hair with the pink and blue highlights, as opposed to having the red and black hair, which she had during parts of the New 52 era. It's a really well done figure. You know, kudos to Mattel, because I think the sculpting on this figure is top notch, especially the way they capture the female anatomy. You know, it's a very realistic, you know, sculpted figure. You know, she's not like overly endowed with like a large chest. It's a very realistic presentation of the female form, and it's just a nice figure. The expression on her face is it's subtle. It's not like she's a crazed maniac. You know, she has this really subtle, like, coy smile on her face, and she kind of has that look behind her eyes that she's up to something no good. She comes with her trademark mallet and some other accessories. So it's just a nice figure. Again, unfortunately, the box is beat to hell, so I'll probably be taking this one out. But this is a version of Harley I'm very fond of. You know, I was a big fan of Harley during the New 52 and Rebirth era, and I think this is a really nice looking costume. Beautiful figure. And here's some of the other figures in Mattel's Collect and Connect wave. For this one, it was the Superman Luthor with the Darkseid helmet and the mother box. So yeah, this was a great set. The Simon Baz figure is a cool figure, and I believe this one's pretty pricey on the secondary market. If you have the Jessica Cruz Green Lantern figure, hold on to that. That figure goes for crazy money. But again, you know, much welcome addition to my collection. Big Harley fan. And lastly, let me get my prized possession that I grabbed at the flea market. All right, so this I got for a steal of a price, and you could tell it was from a serious collector and seller, because he had a couple of these on hand, but he made sure that, you know, they're all protected with nice tissue paper. Especially at the flea market, it's outdoor in the parking lot. It's underneath the bright sun, so you know, it was awesome and very thoughtful of them to like go this extra mile. So what we have here is let's take this out. This is something I've been wanting for such a long time, but the prices for these Storm collectible figures is just ridiculous. This is the Storm Collectibles Ultra Street Fighter 2 Rue, and it's such a beautiful figure. He also had the Cammy figure, but that was like crazy priced. This one I got for $60, which is kind of a steal. If you collect Storm collectibles, you know that out of the gate, some of these Street Fighter figures run anywhere between $90 to $100. And then, you know, once they're sold out, the secondhand market prices, you know, they really skyrocket to like, you know, 200 plus. So this is a figure that I really wanted. It makes me itchy to get the other Street Fighter figures, but, you know, that cost an arm and a leg. At the very least, you know, I have the main character, Rue, and with the new Street Fighter game coming out soon, you know, I'm just so amped for it. I've been playing the demo, and it just makes me really, really hungry for Street Fighter action figures. Storm collectible stuff, it's really nice. I think it's about like a 7.5 to 8 inch scale action figure. Multiple accessories, and then you have the old graphic from the original game, if you remember that. And then some artwork. So this really dates you if you're old enough to remember, you know, a lot of the early artwork for like the early Street Fighter games. You know, you'll recognize this from the stuff that you saw in the 90s. And here's the figure. It looks beautiful. It comes with his Hadouken effect. You could get him in the Dragon Punch. And then you can recreate the opening animation sequence. And it's cool. They give you the head options. So yeah, very stoked on this figure. And, you know, if I could find more Storm collectible stuff for a reasonable price, you know, I'll start grabbing them. You know, there's a couple of properties that they work on that I'm interested in. I have a couple of the Mortal Kombat figures, but I haven't reviewed that on my channel yet. The Tekken figures look amazing. You know, they've dabbled in like SNK properties like World Heroes, Fatal Fury, Samurai Showdown. They've done some wrestling stuff as well, and their Tekken figures are amazing. So, you know, I'm really excited to check this out. So be on the lookout. You know, at some point in time, hopefully in the near future, I'll do a review on this guy. All right, so this wraps up this flea market haul video. If you have the opportunity to attend a toy show or flea market, I highly encourage you to do so. Many times you can strike good deals at these shows. Often you can find like little gems and treasures that you might not have thought of, or stuff that you thought it was long gone. And some tips. You know, if you go to any of these toy shows or flea markets, always try to go during close to the closing hours. You know, maybe during the last 2 to 1 hour of the show, just because by that point in time, dealers are in a hurry. They want to pack up and leave. And, you know, the less they have to pack up, the better. So you're more likely to cut deals with dealers toward the end of the show as opposed to the beginning of the show. So that's, you know, just a little tip for like doing some toy shopping at comic book conventions or flea markets in general. So let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.